Neon Genesis Evangelion, a familiar name to just about anyone who's been interested in anime for some time. This groundbreaking mecha series is famous for its surprisingly heavy themes, deconstruction of the genre, and the influence it had on anime going forward that can be seen even today. Despite its acclaim and impact on the industry, the series also caused a significant amount of controversy upon its original broadcast in Japan on TV Tokyo, largely due to the level of violence and mature material at a time slot in which a great number of children were in the audience. It is believed that this controversy, including sponsors pulling out of the series at the 18-episode mark due to the content, also affected anime as a whole going forward. Previously, series airing in family time slots such as Ranma 1/2 had been able to get away with some body humor and casual nudity, but television stations were now fearful of losing sponsors and imposed tighter censorship standards. One series that is well known for being impacted by these new standards is Cowboy Bebop, which only had 12 of its 26 episodes broadcast on its original run on the same station that Evangelion was broadcast, TV Tokyo, likely due to concerns over the level of violence. Internationally, Evangelion's first broadcast in the United States was on Cartoon Network's Toonami block back in 2003, when the block was still intended for children, as part of a special promotional Giant Robot Week event. However, only the first 2 episodes were shown, and the second episode was heavily edited to the point where viewers knew there was no way that a full run of Evangelion would ever be possible on daytime Toonami. The show was later broadcast on Adult Swim Action in 2005 with only minor edits. While the violence was left intact, Asuka's swearing in German was sometimes bleeped out, and the scene in which Shinji falls on a naked Rei had the shot of his hand on her breast removed. Gotta love American standards. The show has a more interesting history in Australia, where it was the first anime broadcast on free-to-air television that wasn't a toyetic show like Pokemon. It was broadcast in primetime on the public broadcasting station SBS, and from what I've found online, most episodes were rated PG. As such, there were a great number of Australian children in the audience. I wonder if this previous early exposure is why Madoka Magica was able to be broadcast on a children's channel in Australia. While parents might have been upset about Evangelion in Japan, the real questions that can answer whether or not Evangelion is a children's series are, did Hideki Anno intend Neon Genesis Evangelion to speak to children, and what exactly can children get out of the series? A segment from a Japanese show that aired in 1999 on the NHK channel regularly circulates online. This segment features Hideki Anno returning to his hometown to talk to a room of elementary school children about being an animator. Several of the children featured in the segment are clearly fans of Evangelion, one of them even remarking that Anno looks a bit like Eva Unit 1. One of the kids asked about why the robot was called Evangelion, but none of them had real hard-hitting questions about the series like, at the end of the day, does crippling depression make you a better or a worse pilot? Anno didn't seem offended that the kids weren't asking these type of questions. In a way, I think he meant for Evangelion to work on different levels, and perhaps be improved with rewatching the show as the viewer gets older. Kids like the giant robots, Pen, and the comedic bits, while realizing in their teenage or adult years the true depth of the work. Something else that we know about Anno is that he doesn't think children should be protected from the world. His philosophy is that exposing children to the realities of life will stop them from being weak and too sheltered as they become older, and as such they'll be immune to the harsh situations in life that they'll eventually face. As such, even though Anno was working on a children's series, he wasn't afraid to throw in some dark material that was based off his newfound interest in human psychology from a book that his friend had lent him at the time he was producing Evangelion. So, is Evangelion a children's series? Yes. It's a children's series that, much like the Ren and Stimpy show in America, network censors in Japan much scratch their heads at and wonder how they ever let some of the material contained in it pass, but it was still broadcast in a children's time slot. Japanese children in 1995 saw an ad for a cool new giant robot series after Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and ended up getting something much more. Even if its full impact didn't register at the time to them, I'm sure that a lot of them have gone back and revisited the series based off their memories, but while Evangelion may be a children's series, its periphery demographic is very understandable. The series perhaps has the strongest appeal to teenagers, 13 and 14-year-olds who are thinking about adulthood for the first time and having all sorts of new feelings, much like the teenage protagonist featured in Evangelion.